Aloha. Good morning. Welcome to the Sound Healer. The intention for today is to give you the really basic information and to get you up and running with a simple sound system. So basically a sound system consists of a mixing board, speakers, and microphone. So those are the things that I'll be covering today. And I'm just going to go over a real simple version just to get you up and running. There's a lot more information that I won't be covering, and you can really get into it and research it and really fine-tune your knowledge with electronics. But I'm just going to give you the real basic information to get you up and running. Okay? Microphones. So basically there are three types of microphones: dynamic, condenser, and ribbon. And for the purpose of this video, we're going to be sticking to the most common one, the dynamic microphone. And there's a lot of microphones out there, a lot of dynamic microphones out there, and they're the simple ones. But the one that I'm going to be speaking to you today on specifically is the SM57 and the SM58. They're both made by Shure. And basically, they're considered like an industry standard. So yes, you can get you can get a different type of dynamic mic, but for this one's about $100. And this is just a nice sound, tried and true. A lot of professional people use the SM57s and 58s. So we're going to be focusing on those microphones today. That is what I recommend, and you can definitely do your research. There are microphones that are less expensive if you're on a budget, and also more expensive if you want to just spend a little bit more. But really, when it comes to purchasing equipment, I don't like to go cheap. I like to get good quality, and so I have access to all kinds of microphones, and I still prefer the SM57 and the SM58. Both of these microphones, they do not require power. Like some microphones are powered where you have to give an additional power source and hook them up. Condenser microphones are like that, and these are not like that. Basically, you plug these in and they're ready to go. So while we're speaking of plugs, I want to mention a couple things. So you see the little end here, or maybe you can't see that. Anyways, there's an N here that's a cord has to stick into. These are called XLR fittings. And you'll notice there are 3 prongs in this microphone, and there are 3 holes in this cord. So they just simply insert and clicks right in, okay? Now these cords, they come in with a variety of ends. They could be a 1/4 inch end, they could be another XLR male end. It really depends. So what you want to do is you want to see the piece of equipment that you're using. Are you plugging right into a speaker? That might be one type of input. If you're using a mixing board, it could require an XLR or 1/4 inch. Usually mixing boards have both, the 1/4 inch and XLR, so it won't be a problem. But if you're using a speaker, it might be specific. So check on, get your overall picture of what you're going to do before you purchase your cord. But you can pretty much be safe with just an XLR cord. One XLR has a female and a male end, and you should be good and ready to go. So you'll notice with the SM57 and the SM58, one has got kind of a blunt head. It's real sharp and skinny, and this one's nice and round. So what is the difference? Well, the main difference is how does the microphone like to receive the signal, okay? Now this one with a round head, this is called unidirectional, meaning that it can pick up sound from here, from over there, from over there, from over there. It's omnidirectional, okay? It means that it can be picked up from anywhere. So these are great for overheads, over your bowls, okay? If you place this over your bowls, you'll be able to pick up all the various sounds from your bowls. So that's one solution. This is really nice. It picks up the other sounds as well. Good for vocals. I really like to use this for vocals when I'm using this kind of microphone. Now this is called unidirectional, okay? It means that it picks up the signal right in front. Right in front. Now why is this important? Well, if you want to pick up just an instrument and have reduced interference from other external sources, then this is the way to go. I would use this for like instrumenting maybe the tabla drums or an instrument, a sarod, guitar, something where you don't want a lot of interference. Maybe you want to isolate and just microphone your high C or whatever it is, your bowl. So you can get very specific and use this kind of as a target microphone, okay? So this is the SM57 and the SM58. As a vocalist, I really like to use my hands for drumming or playing the different instruments while singing. So because of that, I like this headset. This is a Shure PGA31. So it's made, and it's a Shure, so it's a nice, good quality headset. And it's real simple. It just goes right on like this. It fits into a clip. This little receiver here, and it just clips right on. I can turn it on and off, and boom, I'm ready to go. This is a great way to go. It's just really, really sound and really sturdy. The videos that you see on YouTube when I'm doing any kind of vocal, it's always with this headset. So I highly recommend this one. They make there are several headsets out there, but I really like the Shure products. I really like the Shure products. They're just very stable and dependable. The last microphone I wanted to mention before we go on to the mixing board is this Yeti. This is the Yeti. I think this microphone is fantastic. You can plug this directly into your computer, okay? You can plug this directly into your computer if you're going to do something with Zoom or some kind of platform that allows you to do music. I haven't actually had very much luck with Zoom overall. Just the gongs and the bowls, they just seem to disappear no matter what I do. Anyways, if you listen to my podcast, okay, any of the podcasts that I've done, they were all done with this microphone, and I've done some live recordings with it. And you know, I recorded the music, made a soundtrack, etc. I use this. This is fantastic. No digital interface. What is a digital interface? A digital interface is like a little box or electronic device, something that you stick this kind of microphone into that, and it creates a digital signal and then goes to your computer, okay? Honestly, I wouldn't do that. I would just get one of these and go right in. No digital interface needed. The signal is stunning. Really good pickup quality. This is really great for online services and also computer recording. I'm not talking about professional recording. That's a little different. But just basic sound healing recording. You want to make a YouTube video? Great. This can be really nice. Additional information to know about the microphones is microphone placement. How close do I place the mic? Well, it's just really, you have to just check it out and test it out. What you're going to notice is if the microphone is too close to an instrument or too close to a speaker, you're going to get this feedback. So you want to make sure that your microphone is not picking up a lot of erroneous sounds, especially like in front of a speaker, especially like in front of a speaker where it can pick up that, and then you just have a bunch of feedback. So be mindful on your mic placement, play around with it. As far as vocals, I like to be about maybe 6 inches or so, 6 to 8 inches away. And you can vary it depending on what you're doing. If I'm going to be doing some whispering or some effects, I might bring it real close. Or sometimes I even cup it like this when I'm making bird sounds. Things like that. So play around, check it out, and get to know your microphone. Next, I'd like to go over the mixing board. And at first glance, this looked like, oh, trouble, doesn't it? It's like, oh my gosh, all these buttons, all these knobs, what do I do? But we're just going to focus on how to actually make it work. So First off, where's the power button? Up here, power button, right here. Just turn it on and you're good to go. Okay. Now, when you look at this thing, it can be extremely intimidating. But what you want to do is pay attention to a few things. First off, where are the inputs and where are the outputs? The inputs are these things right here. This is the XLR input, what we were talking about earlier, the thing with 3 prongs. And this is called the 1/4 inch input. This is like a guitar chord, something you might see. So these are your inputs, okay? Now your outputs are on the other side of the board, and they're in this configuration right here. XLR outputs, 1/4 inch outputs. These outputs go to your speakers, powered speakers, okay? There are powered and unpowered speakers, and again, I'm not going to go into all the difference, but what we're working with are powered speakers and a powered mixer. We don't want another external power source, okay? I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. Powered mixer, powered speakers. These are your outputs. These are your inputs. Okay. So before we take a look at one of the channels here, one of these strips here, okay? And when you learn one of these strips, then you know all these strips, okay? These are called strips, individual strips, and some of them have 12, 16, 8, whatever your mixer is, but that's why it looks so intimidating. But really, it's this repeated several times, and then you have some stuff over here, okay? So we'll go over the stuff that you really need to know. All right, I'll put the sliders down here. Volume. All right, so look over here. This is your main volume. Your main volume, all right? This is where you're gonna control the level of everything. If you have several instruments in your board, this turns everything up and down at once, okay? Your volume. Now you'll notice there's a little bit of a mark right here, okay? Right here. See this stuff right here? Can you see that? This little white thing? This is your sweet spot. So anywhere in here is considered acceptable. You don't want to go too high, and you don't want to go too low. You want your volume always here, okay? Now, let's say your volume is in the optimal place, but you still don't have enough signal. So you're going to address something called the gain on one of your channels. We'll get to that in a minute, not to worry. The main thing you need to know is this needs to be right in this little white zone, okay? So that's your volume. Your main volume. I told you where your main input was, and a lot of this other stuff is effects processing and really fine-tuning things. We're not going to go into that today. That's another time, okay? But something that you might need to know is right here, okay? Right here is a tape in, tape out. This little section right here. See these inputs? These are different types of inputs, aren't they? Okay. This is where your MP3 player goes. So if you're using a soundscape or a backtrack, you can put that right into here. All right. And for me on this mixer, the volume for that is right here. Okay. And they will vary, but usually it's like tape in or something like that. You can find where this knob is with your instruction manual, but basically you want a soundscape or some kind of MP3 player, music in the background during your while you're waiting to get set up, whatever that is, you can put that in right there. Okay? So, your tape input, your output, your main volume. Now let's take a look at the channel, the individual. Now let's look at that. So first you have your different inputs, your XLR inputs, your 1/4 inch inputs. Moving down, is your gain, right here. Remember when I told you what happens if you don't have enough volume? Well, gain is the way that you adjust that. So gain is different from volume, although it kind of works the same. If I turn it up, if I turn my gain up, I'm going to have greater volume. But here's the difference. The gain is the signal coming from your instrument, coming from your microphone, from your electronic device, whatever it is. But you want your gain set at a place that's not too high and not too low. So what I'd like to do is I like to keep my volume, my main volume, right in that middle section that I mentioned, and then turn my gain up accordingly. Okay? So I'll turn my gain up just so I make sure that my main volume stays right in the middle. Okay? So in order to optimize this, I'm going to adjust my gain accordingly. All right? So if I was trying to pump up the volume and just using my main, I might get distortion, a lot of background noise, etc. That's why the gain is important. Now, if you really want to get into it, there's something called gain staging. That will tell you exactly how to set your gain, especially if you're going to use like effects processors or different types of outboard gear. You want to be able to set your gain appropriate so the correct signal is at the correct volume going into the correct device. When you do that, you minimize all that extra noise, that white noise, that background noise, okay? So again, let's take a look. We talked about our inputs. We talked about our gain. Now the next knobs, these are all EQ, okay? And we've all done EQ. We know how to put the highs in, the lows, the mids. Sometimes with vocals, we might want to come back on our mids a little bit. Just come back a tick or so. You know, we might want to do something with our highs. Just bring it up a little bit to make it more present, more brighter. You know, there's the bass thing. We won't worry about this little white knob. Okay? So that's basically it. And you can, if you don't want to do anything, you could leave those all at 12 o'clock. Just leave it perfectly upright. No problem. Don't even do anything to it. Okay? Just leave it as is and play around when you get a chance. This next section here, this green section, this is all regarding effects. And with this particular board, they have built-in effects processing. Okay? This Mackie is great. It has all these different effects, and we're not going to go into that. All right? We're not going to go into that. Just keep it nice and simple. Yes, you can access it if you choose, and you can write to me privately and I can explain a little further. But again, the purpose of this video is just to get you up and running. So, lastly is your channel volume. And you notice here, you got this little white area here. Same thing. You want your channel, you want your volume to be in that optimal place. So it's a combination of this and your gain. This should be in the middle, in the white area, along with your main level. Those are important things, landmarks, okay? Adjust your gain accordingly. Now when I'm using my vocal headset, I actually have the gain almost off. I don't need it, okay? So I hope that gives you some basic information on how to get yourself up and running using a sound system. I know it's an extremely basic understanding and very minimal information. And again, there's tons more. If you really get into this board, you'll find you can do all kinds of things. It's really quite something. They make 24-channel mixers. You know, they go all the way up, and they make simple 4-channel mixers also. It's really affordable. Even Mackie makes a 4-channel mixer with built-in effects.